Hi, my name is Hannant. I'm a prison officer and a member of the Prison Officers Association, the POA, and branch chair at a local level. At the start of the pandemic, it was predicted that we may lose up to 2,500 prisoners and hundreds of staff due to the uncertainty of the pandemic. The POA nationally were instrumental in locking down prisons at an early stage, therefore to keep us, the staff and prisoners, safe. I'd like to pay tribute to, unfortunately, the 27 of my colleagues across the estate who lost their lives. It's virtually impossible to socially distance in a prison when dealing with violent prisoners that you have to restrain, when dealing with prisoners who self-harm that you have to go in and help. My colleagues across the estate took prisoners out who were injured, who were ill, to COVID positive wards without any thought to their own safety. Many of these colleagues had vulnerable children, vulnerable relatives at home, yet they turned in for long hours, many of us working weeks on end without a day off. This continued throughout, and I believe the POA was instrumental both at local and national levels of forging safe systems of work across the estate to keep us as safe as possible. Our colleagues' operational support grades were front of house. Very difficult to socially distance when you're on front of house, as they have to do safety checks and security checks on staff coming through, but they did an absolutely fantastic job. I couldn't be more proud of the way we all gelled together as one big family. Coming out of the pandemic, what I'd like to say is the empty claps, the promises, the politicians, the Conservative government standing on their doorstep clapping means nothing. Give all workers and key workers decent pay rises so that we can get on with our lives and get back to some form of more normality. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jackie Hannant. I work for the prison service as an OSJ and I'm a member of the POA. I remember driving to work on the first day of lockdown, not knowing how things were going to be, but when I got to work I realised we had to be as normal as possible in the world that I work in. Staff were anxious, people were worried about childcare, about parents being alone, all different kinds of anxieties. Everybody's anxiety was heightened. Some people had to stay at home and isolate. Some people had to stay home just purely because they were deemed vulnerable and they'd never had to face that before. And vulnerability is seen as a sign of weakness in the world that I work in, but there was nowhere to hide. Everyone was vulnerable. The POA helped everyone feel as safe as possible by keeping us as informed as they could do and working really hard with management to keep staff safe, getting us PPE eventually, helping us to manage visitors and visits when we couldn't see our friends and family at home. I'm so proud of my colleagues. We're bonded as a special family. When you're family, you couldn't see your own family. They kept us going. We did our very, very best to keep that world safe, but unfortunately, COVID came into the prisons one way or another, and in a very hostile environment, it was difficult to be put in that position, but we stayed as safe as we could and kept everyone as safe as we possibly could. We worked really, really hard and deserve a pay rise. Just a standard of living, a chance to get back to normal again after all of this. Thank you.